Hello boys and girls. Today we'll be exploring the concept of variables and constants.
This is from the video series, Do You Have a Problem? Let's solve it.
A variable as we know it in math is a letter or symbol that is used to represent an unknown value. However, in information technology, we define a variable as a storage location in memory, the value of which may change during the execution of a program. Whilst a constant is also a storage location in memory, the value of which will not change during the execution of a program. Let us explore these two concepts in the context of the process of baking. Remember that a recipe can be considered an algorithm since we have to follow a sequence of steps to fulfill a task. So today, I'll be following a recipe to make banana bread. These containers will be used to store my ingredients for my banana bread. Please note that they are just empty containers of which I can put anything in them. However, not having these containers labeled can cause problems later on in the process because I may use an ingredient incorrectly if I don't know what is in it. So then, let me label these. You might say persons don't normally label these when they are going through the process, which is true. A physical label might not be there, however, a mental one is made. In programming, these labels are called identifiers. They are used to identify what will be stored in a particular location so that when that item or ingredient is needed, the location can be found. Now, these names are totally up to you, whatever you want to call them. Just ensure that 1. The name reflects what is to be stored. 2. The name does not contain a space, in other words, it should be one word. 3. The name does not exceed 64 characters. 4. The name does not start with a number. 5. The name does not contain any special symbols such as the asterisk, percentage sign, the minus sign, etc. And finally 6. The name is not a reserved word such as sprint, begin, for, and so on. Here I have a container called sugar. I'll add 1 cup of sugar to that. Here I have a container called flour. I'll add 1 cup of flour to that. I need to store eggs. What should I do? Good guess! I need to create another space for it. So now I'll have another container, I'll call it eggs. The actual eggs that I'll add to this will be like a number or a name that a person would enter into a program to be stored at a location in this case called eggs. The definition of a variable also states that the contents may change during the process. In this case, I will change the contents of the flour container by adding some baking powder. And I'll also add some cinnamon. This changes the content of the flour container from its original state. Let us look at constants. Again, constants are storage locations, the value of which will not change during the execution of a program. There are times in which you may have an ingredient that only it can be stored in that container from start to finish. For example, this container stores butter. At no point in time would I want to add to it water, flour, milk, or anything as a matter of fact. In other words, don't mix me. In programming, we use constants on data items that do not change or rarely change. Example: 1. The value of pi. 2. The days of the week. 3. Hours in a day. Or 4. The rate of pay, etc. So let's make bread. Flour plus sugar plus eggs equal the mixture, and stir it up, little darling, stir it up. Come on, baby, come on and stir it up. Little darling, stir it up. Ta-da! Here's the finished product. Let's recap. Both variables and constants are storage locations in memory. The value of a variable may change during the execution of the program. However, the value of a constant will not change. Variables and constants are labeled using identifiers that you create.